So you've started an antidepressant, but now you're having sexual side effects. Well, in today's video, I'm going to give you 3 easy tips to try at home so that you can get your sex life back on track. Tip number 1 is to change the timing of when you take your antidepressant. And this is going to work best for those of you who take your medication only once per day. What you're going to want to do is figure out the time of day you typically engage in sexual activity. And then you'll plan to take your antidepressant after that point in time. So if you're someone who is more intimate in the evening hours, say at around 9 p.m., you'll be at your best performance-wise if you take your medication right before going to bed, so maybe at around 11 p.m. And the idea behind this is that the side effects of your medication should be the least bothersome a few hours before you have to take the next dose, right? This is when we see the lowest blood levels of the medication in your system. So we want to try to align and coincide this period of time with when you're looking to be intimate. Tip number 2 is to exercise. And you're probably like, I am so sick of doctors telling me to exercise. But hold on, okay? Hear me out on this one. It's been shown that those who exercise before sexual activity will have increased sexual desire. And this is because exercise leads to sympathetic nervous system activation, which has been linked to increased genital arousal. And there have been multiple research studies that have demonstrated this, and this is especially true in women. One of the studies in particular took 47 women who had antidepressant-related sexual arousal problems. Each of the women went through 3 different experimental designs. In the first design, the women were instructed not to exercise. They then watched a 3-minute neutral film followed by a 10-minute erotic film. So a porno, right? The second design had the women run on a treadmill for 20 minutes, wait 5 minutes, and then watch the neutral film followed by the erotic film. And the third design was similar to the second one, but instead of waiting 5 minutes, they waited 15 minutes before viewing the films. And what they found was that genital arousal was greater for the 2 exercise groups compared to the non-exercise one. And when comparing the 2 exercise groups head to head, sexual arousal was significantly higher in the 5-minute post-exercise group than the 15-minute one. When it comes down to it, exercise before sex is something that is so simple, yet can be a game changer in those who have decreased libido from antidepressant medications. Now, if you're looking for a way to keep track of all these tips so that you can refer back to them later, make sure to download my free PDF. The link to it is in the description below. Tip number 3 is to take a drug holiday. So what does this mean exactly? Well, there was a study published in the American Journal of Psychiatry that looked at people who reported having sexual dysfunction when taking an SSRI. Researchers instructed the participants to not take their antidepressant on Fridays or Saturdays over a 4-week period, right? They would take their medication Monday through Thursday, hold it on Friday and Saturday, and then resume it as usual on Sunday. And what they found was that there was a significant improvement in sexual functioning on the days that the antidepressant was not taken. Now, there are some things to take into consideration with this approach that I need you to be aware of. The first is that this will not work for every antidepressant out there, especially if yours is one with a longer half-life, such as fluoxetine or Prozac. It probably won't work either with medications with super short half-lives, so ones like Effexor or Paxil, because this might cause you to have withdrawal symptoms. The other factor to consider is that if you're not getting the full amount of medication in your system throughout the week, it might not be as effective in controlling your depression or anxiety symptoms as you'd want it to be. So some people will take half of their medication dose on Saturdays and Sundays instead of stopping it completely. So when taking all the factors into consideration, this approach in my mind is best for those who have had stability of symptoms for quite a while, those who aren't on a medication notorious for causing discontinuation symptoms, and those who aren't on an antidepressant with a super long half-life. Now, the next thing I want you to know about are some of the top supplements out there for antidepressant-induced sexual dysfunction. So make sure to click that top video to find out more.